One of the number one reasons why women struggle with dating and relationships today is that they choose men who are not ready for anything real. Ladies, there are lots of great relationship-ready men out here. However, you need to learn how to choose them. I wrote this book to teach you how to do just that. Get your copy of Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you on Amazon today.
Hello, good afternoon. All right, so my daughter and I are leaving Target. We are headed to the grocery store. But I just got finished watching a video by Dr. L of Dr. L's podcast. I want you to head over to his channel. I'm actually going to link the description of the video below this video, but I want you to head on over to his channel and take a listen to that video. I'm actually doing a response to that video over on YouTube. His platform is Dr. L's podcast. And it was all about the importance of fathers in a daughter's life. Now, here's the thing I'm going to assume of my platform, because I believe the people here actually got some sense. I believe if you've been watching me for any length of time, you actually got some sense, okay? So there are some things I'm going to infer about my platform. Thank you, Pure_Soul, for buying a badge. I appreciate you. And your continued support of the platform. Thank you so much. But here's what I know about my folks. Here's what I know about the people who stay over here, okay? Is, yes, that is assumed. It is assumed that daughters need fathers. And it is assumed that they bring an experience to a young woman, a young girl's life that moms just don't bring. And when Dr. L was listing all of the statistical facts, the data about the importance of a father in a girl's life, I am the living, breathing result of those statistics. So when men tell me, ooh, you got self-esteem, you got high self-esteem, ooh, you know, you love yourself. Ooh, you ain't out here just giving away your body hand over fist. They figure out I must have had a father. Like, I must have had a strong, masculine, black father in my life. Okay? Here's another way you can tell that a woman has a strong, masculine father. She is accountable. She is responsible. That's something that fathers give to their daughters, or should be. Because let's go ahead and keep it real right now. Every father is not made equally. Every father is not cut from the same cloth. There are some non-masculine fathers. There are some passive fathers. There are some henpeck fathers. Fathers who don't know how to be masculine and stand up for themselves in a healthy way. There are some, wounded, broken fathers. There are some alcoholic fathers, some drug addicted fathers. Like, there are some bad fathers. We're not talking about them. We're talking about fathers who are present, who are doing the best they know how to do, who are showing up in a masculine way, who know about the world and how difficult and hard it can be out here, who take accountability and are responsible. They're doing their part to be in their children's lives. They're pursuing their children. Those are the type of fathers that I'm speaking about. Okay, so these dudes aren't perfect. They may not be the most emotionally available men, or they may not be the most touchy-feely, or they may not be the most educated, or they may not have the most money, because we're not talking about any of that. Okay, in my humble opinion, none of that makes you I'm a perfect father. No, you don't have to have the most money. You don't have to have the most education, right? But you're present. You care enough to show up. You're masculine. Yeah, Those are the type of men that make good fathers. And they're just doing their best, right? But I am the living, breathing result of that statistic, because I know a lot of women personally whose father passed away when they were young, or their father wasn't in their life, wasn't around, was around in a spotty way, or just was around and wasn't a healthy masculine father. And those women are going to struggle. They're going to struggle. Now, here's the biggest way. Those women are going to struggle to respect masculine authority. Just saying those words will make the woman shudder. What do you mean, masculine authority? What do you mean? Like, they will just shudder at the words masculine authority, right? That just sounds horrible to them. Something about that just sounds horrible to them. When the truth is, you want to know the truth? Masculine authority shows up in the form of a judge in court. That's a man. Masculine authority shows up in the form of a police officer. That's a man. Masculine authority shows up in the form of your boss. That's a man. So what help me to understand why you freak out when you hear those words? What is it about those words that triggers you? And then this is what women don't say enough. And I want them to start actually verbalizing it, right? Verbalize the fact that you've been hurt by a man. Verbalize the fact that you've been hurt, you've been let down. Maybe you have been abused and neglected by a man. Like, verbalize that, right? Because we're trying to understand why you get triggered. And instead of reacting in this triggered way, help us to understand what is really coming up for you. What does it mean when we say masculine authority? What's the meaning that you give it? Try to help people to understand you better, because women just get triggered. They just get triggered, and before you know it, oh, so yeah, now, you immediately think of abuse or neglect, or, you get triggered. You get triggered when people say masculine authority or submission. You get triggered. And so help us to understand what's going on inside of you, right? Lead with that. Lead with, well, I was hurt by my father. I was let down by my father. Y'all, I'm going to move my phone because it's hot out here and y'all know my phone be overheating. Okay, there we go. I put it in front of the air conditioning vent. My phone be overheating, y'all. But help people to understand what's really going on. And 9 times out of 10, it's when a woman does not feel safe, right? She doesn't feel safe. And the thought of putting a man in authority over her children, she immediately recoils. She immediately assumes that this is a bad man. She immediately assumes that the man doesn't have her and her children's best interests at heart. She assumes, see, that's the problem. You're making all these assumptions. Help us to understand what is the meaning that you're making when we say masculine authority. Because I'm very comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that with my brothers. I'm comfortable with that with my uncles. I'm comfortable with that with my father. I'm comfortable with that with my grandfathers. Nothing about the term masculine authority or submission makes me freak out. That doesn't make me freak out. That doesn't trigger me. Now, the difference is I have had excellent, I'm talking 90% of the interactions I have with men are positive. Okay, so I have not experienced sexual assault at the hands of a man, rape at the hands of a man, sexual abuse as a child. So maybe I'm a unicorn. But most men that I've interacted with have been helpful. They've been protective. They've been providing. They have been good containers for me to express my feminine essence. They have been, Like, oh, what do you need? What do you want? Like, they're problem solvers. So perhaps that's the difference between me and most women, that I have been raised around men and by men. And I mean, they knock themselves out. They knock themselves out to take care of me. They knocked themselves out to make sure I was protected. Right? And I've even had that experience with strangers where I'm walking on campus and somebody's walking behind me and 2 or 3 guys on campus, they see me looking nervous. Hey, what's up? Oh, is this guy following you? Like, I have had that happen to me a few times where men that I didn't even know stepped into a situation like, hey, sis, what's going on? What's happening? Like, is he bothering you? So I think it's unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate. It's downright sad, the experience that some women have had with men. But ladies, this is a piece of advice. This is an old auntie advice. You ready? You will get more understanding when you lead with vulnerability. You'll get more understanding when you lead with the meaning that you're making, right? Help that person to understand why that is triggering to you. Help that person to understand why words like submission and masculine authority trigger you so badly. Instead of just being combative and puffing up and pushing the person away, like, help the person to understand what that is. That's what I do. So when Dr. L and we got into it once about the word duty, right? We got into it on his podcast about the word duty. And I was like, well, I don't like that word. That word doesn't make me, want to, oh, it's your duty to have sex with your husband. Like, I want to have sex with my husband. I don't have sex with my husband because it's my duty. I want to have sex with my husband. I love him. He loves me. He takes good care of me. He meets a lot of needs that I have. I want to meet his needs. So I didn't like the word duty because it implied that I was going to be made to do something that I didn't want to do. No, I want to have sex with my husband. I want to make love to this man all the time. Okay. So to say it's my duty to have sex with my husband, something about that just don't spark in my soul. And if I start to feel like sex is a duty, it's like, am I going to enjoy it less? Am I going to, yeah. Like right now, if I'm married to a man, I enjoy it. So why would I want to turn it into, I want to make love to my husband till, well, it's my duty, like I try to help people understand what's happening in my mind. Okay. I don't immediately push down the concept, but I do try to help people to understand what's going on. All right. I had a comment. Pure_soul says, my father has been deceased for 30 years and I miss him to this day. He was my best friend. Awesome. So you had a wonderful experience with an older man. A lot of women don't. They don't. And that's why when I'm teaching them how to reparent themselves, I'm like, come up with an ideal father figure. And you know what? You can even, find some ideal father figures out there in the world. Make that person your father figure now. Someone who's healthy, someone who's safe, someone who's kind. What's the name of the YouTube channel again? So Dr. L's podcast is the video that I'm responding to. He created a video about, daughters needing fathers, and I'm just responding to that video because, yes, they do. And I'm giving you, as he did, some of the benefits of a father in a daughter's life. Now, here is a caveat that I'm going to bring to my video. I don't see fathers pursuing their daughters enough, and I think that's problematic. I have a client right now who, just this week, he and his daughter, and I mean, she's 15, they got into it over something, and he felt like the daughter was disrespectful. And so he's like, yeah, I'm not talking to her, I got her on mute, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, I felt like she was disrespectful, and she did call, she did apologize, but I got her on mute, I can't, da, da, da. I was like, are you the girl? Like, are you the child? Or are you the adult? Are you the man? Because it sounds like you younger than her. And it sounds like you done switched genders. That you done become the 12 or 11-year-old girl to your 15-year-old daughter. Like, do y'all understand as adults, you are the grown up? Meaning you're going to lead. You're the role model on how this whole thing works. How is the child going to learn how to forgive if you don't? How is the child going to learn how to communicate if you don't? Like, y'all really be tripping me out. Y'all be tripping me out. And I'll be like, what is happening? Why? What? So, of course, after chastising him and saying, sir, you keep pursuing your daughter. I'm sorry, your little 9-year-old girl feelings got hurt, but you keep pursuing your daughter. You accept her apology and you teach her the proper way to do things. But this whole, I got her on mute, I'm not talking to her, and that's some childish female behavior. But pursue your daughters. That lays the foundation of how a man is to pursue her. But if you sitting around right now waiting for your daughter to call you, waiting for your daughter to reach out, waiting for your daughter to, like, huh? I'm a woman and I pursue my children. Even God was like, okay, Anita, I mean, as the lady of the two, like, I really call the man to pursue. I pursue my children. Okay? I go to them. I make sure I'm the first one to say good morning. I go to them about their day. I go to them about what's going on in their life. Every single day, I ask my kids, you good? You good? I call, you good? I pursue my children because I am the adult in the equation. I'm the grown up to my grown kids. And if y'all telling on yourself when you are acting more immature than your kids, there's something going on there. So please pursue your daughters. Pursue your daughters. Pursue your children, period. And as I stated before, I have plenty of videos from dads who, oh, the mom won't let me see them. The mom's keeping the kids from me and la-di-da-di-da. I done made plenty of videos on here about what you should do. Plenty. Go back and watch them. But you must pursue your children. You must prove to your children through your actions that you care about them, that you want to be around them, that you want to know them, that you want to raise them. And I'm sorry, bros, it's just not going to fly for you to have, your kids grow up and you to say something like, well, I mean, your mom wouldn't let me see you. Your mom kept me from you. That's just not going to fly. That's just not going to fly. I hate to be the one to tell you, but that's just not going to fly. You are the grown up. And you need to pursue your children. You need to pursue the people that you made. That's all. I'm just saying. Okay? But yes, self-esteem, confidence, loving yourself, accountability, personal responsibility. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you the difference between my daddy and my mama. Now, my mama, she taught me a lot of personal responsibility too. Because my mama had a daddy. Right? So it's just all trickling down. My mama had a daddy, a good one. And my mama taught me personal responsibility too. But my dad, let me tell y'all, he was harsh. My dad was harsh. Like, it did not matter what happened. All roads led back to me. Like, what did you do? What is your part in this? What could you have done differently? All roads led back to me. Like, I don't even understand how men and women today blame and finger point and everything is about somebody else and they're the victim and la da la. I just don't get it. I just don't understand, because that was not my upbringing. Like, all roads led back to me. And that's why I'm so passionate about radical personal responsibility, because that is your power. That is your ability to make stuff happen, to change things just like that. Just like that. You could wake up tomorrow and have a whole different life. That's what I believe in my soul. But you must take radical responsibility. You must be accountable for your part in it. And what do women say? Y'all know what they say because I say it on here all the time. Well, he wore a mask. He pretended to be something he wasn't. And he was a narcissist. And he pretended for a few months and did you lay down with him in those months? Did you put your mouth on him? Because if you hadn't done none of that, right? I was on somebody else's channel the other day, and a whole bunch of women was in the comments talking about the masks that men wear and how they pretend to be somebody they not and all this. Oh, everybody pretends to be good in the beginning. Look what I said. I said, well, why don't you wait until the middle? Why don't you wait? Let's let the beginning be whatever it's going to be, but let's wait until the middle of the relationship to actually see what it is. Because here's what y'all do. This what y'all not willing to say. You give and do too much in the beginning. You fall for all the love bombing in the beginning. You on your back and your knees in the beginning. See, so you meeting him in the beginning just like you in the beginning. What's the difference? But guess what? If you are just getting to know this person, just talking on the phone, just texting, just going out, just seeing what they're about, staying off your back, staying off your knees, keeping your legs closed, being sweet, being fun and flirty and feminine, right? And him saying, well, what's going on? How come I can't? Well, let's see what happens in a few months. I told y'all that just the other day. Tell the man to his face, you know what? Let's see where we are in 3 months. Tell him to his face. 3 months is technically the end of the honeymoon stage. That's the end of an avoidant being able to hold up that mask, 3 to 6 months. Let's see where we are in 6 months. That's your response. And look, if y'all got to go Dutch, then go Dutch. But no, I'm not getting on my back. I'm not getting on my knees. I'm not putting my mouth on you, on your mouth, until I know who I'm dealing with. But y'all don't say that to yourself, do you? I have clients right now that have been in multiple marriages, and I'm talking 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. They're married to a stranger, and then 2 or 3 years when they see who he really is, and then the marriage is over. I have a friend who's been married 4 times, and she cannot tell you what her part in the marriage's ending is. And and look what she told me. Oh, I'm going to try again. And you going to fail again. So that to me is a woman with no daddy. Okay? That's a woman with no father. Because like I said, let me tell y'all how scared I am. Let me tell y'all what Frederick James Daniels has done to me. The one marriage that I had, okay, that ended. Like every man that I've dated since then, okay? And I've only dated 2 men seriously. I hear his voice. I see his face, right? Like, all right, well, what did you learn from the first time? And are you sure? You sure you want to do this again? You sure this is the person? I hear his voice. I see his face. Because you talk about the shame that will come upon me. Like, I'm just being honest with y'all on this live today. You talk about the shame that will come upon me if I ever shown up in front of either one of my parents with 4 divorces under my belt. Like, that's unacceptable. Do you understand that? Having 4 divorces under my belt is unacceptable. And I remember the first relationship I got in, this was 5 years after my marriage ended. And the guy was like, there's a lot of fear in you. I'm like, yep. Like, I owned it. He said, there's a lot of fear in you. There's a part of you that doesn't want to remarry. You have a fear of divorce. I'm like, yep, I sure do. You ain't going to catch me out here slipping. I said, so, and I told him, I said, yeah, I'm not ready, or I don't know if I ever be ready, but, I can't have no another divorce. That's unacceptable. And look, my parents have had multiple divorces. That's what's so wow. That's what's so wild. But I was like, nope, that's unacceptable. And a lot of it is just them saying, learn from our mistakes, right? I've learned from my parents' mistakes. And they even told me that. They even told me, learn from our mistakes. Don't do what we did. And I didn't. I've been married once. I've been divorced once. And would I like to remarry again? Yes, now I would. Because I've gotten over that fear. I've learned some new relationship skills. I've learned some new tools. I know how to choose a good husband. See, that's what is necessary. So now I could make a good choice. Now I could be in a good long-term, happy, fulfilling marriage because I have the information and the knowledge necessary to do so. Okay, but no, it is unacceptable for me to have 3 and 4. No, my parents would have a duck fit. Like, have you not learned anything from us? Like, what are you doing out here? But the good news is I did. I did learn something from them, which is don't have multiple marriages. Don't jump into anything. I jumped into my first marriage somewhat quickly, some would say. So I was like, nah, I got to see what we doing. Like, I got to know. I got to have some knowledge about you. But ladies, a lot of y'all, the fact that you don't have a good, healthy man in your life and never have, it's showing. It shows. Y'all think, look, I have a acquaintance. I'm not going to say a friend. I have an acquaintance who didn't have her father in her life. He kind of dipped in and out. And she swear up and down that she is just fine. I am just fine. And that wouldn't have made me any better or worse. That wouldn't have done anything. And I am just fine. And I don't know why people say that and blah, blah, blah. The fact that you saying this right now is telling us that you ain't fine. Like this whole diatribe that you just went on says you ain't fine. Okay? So the fact that you feel the need to prove to people how great you are because your dad wasn't in your life, yeah, you're telling us that it wasn't okay. Okay? So it's not okay. Children need 2 parents. It takes 2 parents, a male and a female, to make a child. And God's intention was that a male and a female would raise the child because they each bring something different to the child's lived experience. But men are direct communicators. They are overt communicators. What they say they mean. It ain't a whole lot of reading between the lines. It's like, this is what it is. And like I said, that's why I'm the way I am. Because I truly believe it seeped into my soul. All my uncles, all my male cousins, my brothers, my father, like they're just very direct communicators. If I need something, I'm going to ask you directly, and then I'm going to see if you can oblige. And what do women do? They are covert communicators. They want you to read between the lines, and they passive aggressive, and they want to throw out hints and see, and then if the man don't pick up the hints, see, this is why I be trying to get my needs met and blah, blah, blah. Just say what you need. Just say what you want. She says, what percentage of men do you think are not just good, but marriageable to you? So in 2025, right now, September 1st, 2025. Ooh, y'all gonna hate this, but I'm gonna say it. I would say 50%. I would say half of them. 50% of men. Now, y'all don't see that 50%. 50% of men are invisible to you all. So that's the problem. Y'all don't see that 50%. I see them. We just left Target. I got some Starbucks. It was a perfectly nice man there. Perfectly nice man walking around Target. I see them. I see perfectly nice men, marriage material men, men who would lick the bottom of y'all's shoe, right? Drink your bath water, pay all your bills. I see them. Y'all just don't see them. Men who are not going to beat you up, not going to verbally abuse you, not going to cheat on you. That's 50%. Now that's in 2025, September 1st. That number has gone down exponentially. That number has exponentially gone down, and it's sad. I used to say it was at like 75, 80%. It's about 50%. It's about 50% now. But the sad part is those men are invisible to y'all. Okay? They're not tall enough. They're not thin enough. They may be, Christian or Muslim and pretty devout, or they may not have the, swaggiest clothes or the best haircuts, or, y'all don't see those men. They don't look the way you need them to look. See, y'all don't see those men. So in y'all's minds, okay, the 50% just clean went away. That leaves 50%. And 35% of those men are just, incorrigible. They're a nightmare for a myriad of reasons. And then you have a percentage of men that are homosexual or bisexual. Okay. You have a percentage of men that are incarcerated, right? You have a percentage of men that are deviant. But the whole 50%, y'all don't even see them. Y'all don't see those men. For whatever reason. But if women could be honest and admit that 50% of men that would make a good husband, would make a great father, y'all don't even see. Y'all don't even see those men. So that then cut you down to just 50. And then let's cut it even lower with, like I said, incarceration, homosexuality, bisexuality, deviancy, violence, addictions. Like, we can keep going, and then that number's going to dwindle. So that's why y'all feel the way you do. There's no good men out here. There's no good marriageable men. Men don't want to get married. Blah, blah, blah. Because y'all don't see 50% of them. So that's the truth, whether you want to admit it or not. And again, I'm not here to tell y'all who to date, who to marry, and all of that. I just want women to understand that there are consequences to your choices. That's it. Do what you want. Do what you want. But what I can't stand about a lot of women is the fact that you don't understand the concept of trade-offs. It's like y'all really don't understand that life is about trade-offs. It's weird to me that you are grown adults, and when I say life is about trade-offs, I should be able to get everything. I should get princess treatment. I want it all. I want it all, Miss Anita. Why you say? Because life is about trade-offs. That is an adult concept that you as an adult should understand. You're not going to get everything. I may get a perfectly lovely gentleman. He may not be the age I want him to be. He may not be the height I want him to be. He may say, yes, I'm a family man, but guess what? That means he's going to spend time with his family, with his kids. And I may not like that. But life is about trade-offs. Stop walking around acting like you're going to get everything you want. You're not. But again, if you had a father, he would have taught you this. Because my daddy did. He taught me, guess what, the number one thing my father taught me when I was in high school is how to do a cost-benefit analysis. I've been doing that to this day. Cost-benefit analysis. Women do not know how to do a cost-benefit analysis. Where you take a piece of paper, you put a line down the middle. What's it going to cost? What's the benefits of it, right? And you just write it out. Okay, these are the things that I may not get, but these are the benefits. These are the things I'm going to get. And that's how you decide. But y'all don't know how to do that. Y'all don't know how to live in the land of logic and rationale every now and again. Where, bump how you feel, okay? Bump how you feel, okay? Sometimes you got to look at the cost-benefit analysis. But dads teach you how to take risks. Dads teach you how to take calculated risks. They teach you about cost-benefit analysis. They teach you about what's logical, what's rational. They give you a foundation that says there's going to be plenty of times where you're not going to feel like it and you're going to do it anyway. You're going to show up anyway. And guess what? The number one thing, there's another thing my dad said, feelings are fickle. Like, feelings are fickle. So Anita, you see how it's sunny out here today? Tomorrow it could be raining, right? And just because it's sunny now, don't mean it's always going to be sunny. And just because it's raining now, don't mean it's always going to be raining. Right? The fathers teach you that feelings are fickle. And that, okay, I got to go to work. You know, I can't wake up and because it's raining outside, call into my job. Yeah, it's raining. I can't come in. I can't come outside. I just got my head in. So what? This is a job that you need to see about. Okay, you took this job. I don't care what the weather is doing. Get to work. Get to work. Okay, Sazarux. Sazarux. Hey there, would you be down for an interview sometimes? Always. All you have to do is DM me. DM me, and if you have a platform, let's collaborate. I'll check it out to make sure that it aligns with my brand, but sure. But y'all, your mama on the other hand, she full of her feelings. She full of her emotions. And so if you just have her around, you'll see a whole lot of stuff done out of how she feels. Like a whole lot of stuff. And you'll walk around in the world thinking that that's how the world should be. That's why the men today who don't have any healthy men in their life, they are led by their emotions. They are led by their feelings because they see women doing it. Well, this is how women are. This is how women respond. So, I mean, this is the example I have. This is what we're going to do. But I'm a woman and I don't do that. Like, I'm a woman and I'm not led around by my emotions because I had a father. Yeah, I saw my mom, but my dad was like, don't nobody care about that. Like, my daddy would tell my mama, don't nobody care about that. You're going to go over there and do this and do that. And this job is on my nerves and I need to leave this job. What does that have to do with anything? You're not going to work to make friends. The end justifies the means. There's a man that said that. Go into work and get this check and let's go about our business. Don't nobody care about, oh, and I don't like her and I don't like this and my supervisor. So what? And that is the same attitude I take about work. Unless these people are mentally torturing me or physically torturing me, it's all called so what? I don't care. I really don't. I really don't. But women, they lost that memo or they were raised by their mother. And if things don't feel good long enough, they're going to go about their business. They're going to go about their business. Now, here's what I'm going to tell the gentleman. Because a woman is a woman, like if you want to get her in her true natural state, that is her true natural state, right? That is her true natural state, which is she needs to feel good to do good. I haven't talked on this in a long time, but I'm going to talk on it now. Women need to feel good to do good. So you do want to create an environment where most of the time it feels good, because that is how you're going to get the best out of a woman. Men need to do good to feel good. So it's the opposite for them. That's why they can go into a job they hate. That's why they can stay in a marriage going through a tough time, because they're just like, well, this is what I got to do. And, you know, this will have benefits on the back end. Men are really, really good at that. And that's why I have a lot of respect for them, because men will do the thing, okay, and they will get the results later. Like, okay, I got to do this job. I got to stay in this marriage. I got to raise these kids. I got to do it. But women, you do have to create an environment where there is some feel good, right? It's just like beauty. Women cannot grow and thrive where there is no beauty. We must have something that's beautiful, something that smells good, something that feels good on our skin. That is the nature of women. So this is not about getting women to change their nature. And this is not about getting women to be more like men. There are some things about women, I'm sorry, fellas, it ain't going to change. They need to feel good to do good. And you need to know that fact, and you need to figure out how to create a thriving, healthy environment for your feminine to do good. Period. You get the softest, sweetest version of her by being the toughest, strongest version of you. Period. That's just nature. Okay? So there's just no getting around that. All right? But again, I want to see more women mature. I am a feminine woman, but I am also a grown-up. Right? I am in charge of my kids and my home. You know, I'm the domestic goddess of my home and my pets and my plants. Like, that is my domain. And to act like I don't have any responsibility or accountability or, yeah, there's plenty of things for me to do. Like, yeah, that's on me. That's my thing. And when I have a man in my life, I have a covering, and he covers me and all those other things too. But my direct responsibility is my home, my children, my plants, my pets. That's my direct responsibility. That's how I feel deep in my soul. Now, some women are going to disagree with that because y'all don't like cooking. Y'all don't like cleaning. Y'all don't have no plants. Y'all don't have no pets. Y'all don't have no kids. Okay. That's not for you. But I believe that's my calling. That's for me. All right. I had a question. Hold on a second. She says, NW Bethy, you mentioned that your father was unfaithful, something like that. How did that affect your perception of men? Here's what I'm going to say about that. And again, y'all are not going to like it. The women are going to feel a way about it because you don't understand men. I did not grow up believing that all men cheat. Isn't that interesting? Because a lot of people say that to me. Oh, you must believe that all men cheat, right? Because you had a cheating father, and did you believe that all men cheated? No, because my dad really was the only man cheating. Can I be honest? My dad was the only man I saw cheating. I never saw my grandfather cheating, never saw my uncles cheating. My grandfather was kind of ahead of his time in the sense of, he was doing a lot of things. My father was ducking the draft. Like my dad was doing a lot of things before people knew to do it. Like he was ahead of his time in some regards. And really, he was the only man I saw doing that regularly. The other men in my life didn't do that. My younger brother cheated. But my older brother, nope. My older brother's been married almost 40 years. And I didn't see every man doing that, but I definitely saw my dad doing that. And believe it or not, I was once I became a teenager and I was living with him all the time, I became the woman in his life who would hold him accountable about that. I would talk to him about the hurt and the pain that he had caused the women in his life because of his cheating. Because guess what? A lot of them would come to me. They would come to me. They would say stuff about him, or, oh, your dad is doing me wrong. Your dad is cheating on me and blah, blah, blah. They would come to me, not my mother and not his second wife. So I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about women that he dated and lived with. They would, because by that time I was like 16, 17, but they would come to me, oh, your dad is doing me wrong, blah, blah. I was like, okay, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, and I would empathize, but I was like, yeah, I'm not really sure what I could do. But after the fact, I would bring it to his attention. My dad and I have had a lot of hard conversations throughout our life. A lot of hard conversations. But I would bring it to his attention. I would tell him how wrong he was. I would let him know about himself. And you know what's funny? He never, ever, ever was like, oh, Anita, you don't know what you're talking about. Or, oh, Anita, don't tell me that. No, he always was like, you right. Like, it was, you right. He never pushed against me saying that because he knew I was right. And in some regards, I was the one woman in his life that could hold him accountable. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing out here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And he wouldn't push back. He would, well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have a mother, and I didn't have, he would tell me all of that. My mother gave me up. My mother didn't. Okay. What that got to do with who you are now? Can you choose to be different now? Can you heal and grow now? But anyway, but no, I definitely didn't think all men cheated. I got cheated on. That's not to say that I didn't get cheated on. I got cheated on, and it brung up that wound from my father. But if I'm being honest, to this day, I believe men can be faithful. I've experienced a faithful man, and I've experienced a cheating man. But unfortunately, for the women who have never experienced a faithful man, see, if all the experience you have is a cheating man, you think all men cheat. But that's not true, because I've experienced a faithful man and I've experienced a cheating man. And can I be real with y'all? Most of the men I have experienced have been faithful. So that's, I would say 75% of them. 75% of the men I've dated have been faithful. So again, that's my experience. I'm not saying that's everybody's, that's my experience. Okay, I had a question. What does it mean if a woman isn't appreciative and combative of the man she's with, that takes care of her life with, but is submissive to men at her job and strangers she just met? It could signal a lack of respect for the man that she's with. It could signal a level of comfort with the man that she met. There is a science behind why we treat the people closest to us the worst. And I'm going to make a separate video about that, but there's actually a brain science behind that. I'm happy to make a video about it because I think a lot of people need to know about it. Like, why do people that are the closest to us treat us the worst? And then they get out in the street with strangers, people they never even met, and they treat them like gold. There's actually a brain science behind that. There's 3 reasons behind that, and I'm going to make a separate video about that. But it could be a lack of respect. It could be because of the brain science. People get comfortable with people. And so, they don't have a fear of rejection. They don't have a fear of anything bad happening. They've been around you. You've been, and then if you've been putting up with their bad behavior, they're like, yeah, they're going to put up with my bad behavior. What are they going to do? So think about that. If you ain't doing nothing about it, if there are no consequences to the bad behavior is going to continue. So that's my response to a lot of men. Like, if you are putting up with a bunch of bad behavior, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to live with. Stop putting up with the bad behavior. I know plenty of men in this world that cuss their heads clean off. Like, when I tell you they cuss a lot and they get around me or get near me and all of that stop. Because I'm not going to listen to it. You're not going to talk to me that way. I'm not going to listen to your foul, filthy mouth. But most men know that about me. They're like, yeah, y'all clean it up. Miss Anita's coming in here. Y'all, watch your language. Watch your language. They check each other. Okay? You do that away from me. It's debased. It's demoralizing. It's degenerate. Don't talk like that around me. Okay? I'm not going to stand for it. That's all. So men have got to, I keep telling y'all, you got to check people. 201 Hustler says, what are your thoughts on lesbian couples raising girls without any male role models? I'd have to make this video members only to tell you. I'd have to make this video members only. And I don't want to do that. This is not a members only video. So that's my answer right there. I'd have to make this video members only to tell you my true thoughts about that. Women, young women, teenage women, young girls need fathers. They need masculine presence. Period. There's no way around it. And even if I was talking to a lesbian couple, I would still encourage some form of masculinity, some form of healthy masculine presence in their children's lives. Because it is silly of us as humans to think that we can erase an entire gender. That is just not possible, and it's not feasible, and it's not positive, okay? So no. And it's the same with men. If 2 men were raising a bunch of boys by themselves, that is not healthy. Those boys need to see a healthy feminine woman. They need healthy feminine nurturing up until a certain age. And again, we keep trying to buck God's natural order. That's what just irritates me so badly about human beings. They really think they know better than God. I mean, the pride and the arrogance of it is just, I can't even put it into words. To think that you know better than God. that you needed something from the other gender to make the child, but you don't need that person in the child's life. That is just the gall of it all. That don't make no sense to me. That's crazy to me. But we think we know best. We think we know better than the Lord. We think we know everything. And look, and this person is grown, Anita. Why you be telling them? That don't mean nothing. That don't mean they can't destroy their lives. You think just because somebody has reached the age of majority and legality that they can't make dumb decisions? People do it every day. Every day, all day. They blow up their lives and they're grown adults. So stop thinking you have it all together. I don't have it all together. Like I tell my kids, I don't know everything, but I know more than you. Okay? Let's put that in perspective. But humans are haughty. That's what turns me off to them. They're haughty and they're prideful and they're arrogant. And they really think, I want to change my sex. I want to change my gender. Really? God made a mistake? I don't even want, what? Like, I would never, ever come out of my mouth and say such a blasphemous thing. God made a mistake. God. Like, God made a mistake. God made a mistake? Like, really? Okay. I don't even want to stand too close to people like that. I don't. That's what really do me in about humans just collectively. The pride and the arrogance that they have. They really think they know things. They really think they got it all together. Nah. But fellas, if you have daughters, if you have sons, pursue your children. That's the advice that I give. I can't respect a man who doesn't. And I have dated men that when I found out they weren't pursuing a relationship with their children were grown now, and they gave me the spiel about, their mom kept them away from me and and I listened with empathy. And then when I asked questions like, well, do you talk to them now? How often do you call them? Or do they just call you? Like, once I figure that out, I don't want nothing to do with you. I cannot respect a man who is not actively pursuing his children, even as adults. Even as adults. Oh, well, they don't really call me like that. Or I call them and they don't call me back. So, ain't no point in calling them. Yeah, I can't respect a man like that. I'm good. But I do. I ask questions that are going to determine my level of respect for a man. That's what a lot of women, y'all don't ask these type of questions. Y'all don't ask these type of questions. What is the relationship that you have with your children? Even if they're adults. How often do you call your children? How often do you talk to your children? Do you know what's going on in their lives? What do they do for work? What is the program that they're in for school? Like, if they don't know the answer to those basic questions, how can you respect that man? I'm sorry. I can't respect that man. Or if you have grandchildren. Like, there are people out here that don't have no relationship with their children, don't have no relationship with their grandchildren. And they walking around trying to garner the respect of somebody. No, I'm good. I'm good. It's easy to see, in my opinion. So ask the right questions. Ask the questions that will determine if you have respect for this person or not. But pursue your children, gentlemen. Stop making these dumb excuses about the mom. Stop making these excuses about the kids not calling back or texting back. I don't care. Keep pursuing your children. Wear them down. Persist. Wear them down. Persist. Keep doing whatever you need to do to prove to them that, you know what? I love you. I care about you. I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm not going anywhere. But that means you have to wear them down. You have to persist in pursuing them. And your girls need that even more. They need to know how a man pursues. But when y'all don't, when y'all leave it up to her to call you and text you and then this is what y'all say. This is what y'all say. And y'all know this is true. Y'all know I ain't lying. My kids only call when they want something. My kids only call when they need money. My kids only call. Here we go. They use me like an ATM. And who set that dynamic up? Who set that dynamic up? Who is, continuing that dynamic? Because you're not calling them just for the sake of talking. You're not calling them just to offer some words of wisdom. You're not calling them just to say hi, just to see how they're doing and feeling. No, you're not doing that at all. And then the kid is like, okay, well, this dude doesn't care about me other than, if I needed something, right? And so that's why they're reaching out. I need something, and he tends to give me money when I need something, so that's what I'll use him for. It's y'all that set that up. It's y'all that set that up. So, again, you could have more of a relationship with your children. You just need to facilitate it. But because you don't, and when they need something, they're like, well, let me call him. Let me see if he can see. Then that's the relationship y'all have. But y'all set that up. And be honest, y'all do that. She said children shouldn't be shamed for asking for things. No, they should not. But they do need to learn that people are not to be used, that we use things and not people. So that's a lesson that I've taught my children, right? So there's plenty of times where my children call and text, and we have lots of conversations. We do things together, and there is no monetary exchange. Like there's no, because that's the relationship I set up with my children. It is not just about getting from me. There are plenty of times where they're the giver. My son has taken me out and paid for my food plenty of times where I am the giver and I am the receiver and he's the giver. So that's a training that I took my son through so I could teach him how to be masculine. Like, son, you are the giver. Okay. Why do a good portion of women nowadays seem to be disgusted with the idea of starting a family, getting married, using the word love, being kind to them, or calling instead of texting? It's just modern day, it's the devil. Like, y'all don't want to hear the spiritual answer, but the devil is run amok. And the devil has tried many things to tear humans apart. He's tried so many things. It's, oh my gosh, since the flood, since the flood, the devil has been trying to rip humans to shreds. He's been trying to destroy you all. The scripture says that he roams around like a hungry lion, seeking those that he can devour. And here in these modern day times, he done figured it out. He said, you know what? I'm going to go after the woman again. I'm going to go after the woman. I'm going to make her rise up against the man. She's going to hate the man. She's going to despise the man. She's going to despise her role as a woman. She's no longer going to want to do what God put in her naturally to do. I'm going to go after the woman, just like I did with Eve, because that's what got us in this trouble in the first place. Can I be honest? What got us here in the first place was Eve. The devil knew then to target Eve. And if I can get her to eat, she going to give it to the man, and he going to eat, and there you go. Send into the world. But he is using that same tactic now. Let me go after the woman again. Let me, put in her head that she is not naturally beautiful. Let me put into her head that she needs to focus more on the outside than the inside. Let me put into her head that men are to be used and not loved. Let me put into her head that attention is the real currency. And once all of that takes root, it destroys us all. It destroys us all. It's destroyed women. And by default, it's destroyed men. Because we are one. Men and women are one. So whatever destroys the woman destroys the man. Just like in the beginning. Okay? So once he went back to the garden and he said, you know what? Let me do this Eve thing again. Let me do this Eve thing again. They ripe and ready. And sure enough, that was it. That hit the jackpot. Look, this is really wild to me about modern day women now. This is how I know the devil is in the mix of it. Women will actually say with words out of their mouth. This is what women say with words. Well, why am I relegated to motherhood? Why? Because you have a uterus? But because you have the baby? Like, huh? Why'd I got to be relegated to motherhood? Y'all, oh God, this is making my head hurt. That, what? That's how deeply indoctrinated these women are. The one superpower that they have, they don't want. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. But this is how well the devil's plan has worked. The one superpower that you have as a woman, you don't want. You don't want. You don't. Don't talk to me about that. Blah, blah, blah. I can't make this up, y'all. So check out Dr. L's podcast. Check out his video there. If you've watched this video, see what he said. But I am the living, breathing statistic. Sorry, y'all. There we go. Someone who had a father, a very imperfect father. Now, how about that? I had an imperfect father, and this is how I turned out. Okay, so I didn't have a perfect father, but I had a masculine father. I had a father that taught me about accountability and responsibility, that taught me about logic and rationale, that taught me about cost-benefit analysis, that taught me about, the trade-off. Life is about trade-offs, right? Some really important things. He taught me how to survive in this world. He taught me how to thrive when I'm put in the right environment. And he taught me about the greatest power, the greatest superpower I have as a woman. He taught me how to use it. He taught me how to leverage it. And he said a lot of crazy things. My dad was very direct. He still is. I talked to him just yesterday. My dad went back to the Philippines. He FaceTimed me yesterday. And again, we had a very direct conversation. And whenever people hear it, they're like, that's your dad? Your dad is talking like that? I was like, yeah, I get it from him. Okay. The direct communication. Okay. We had a very direct conversation, but he was just like, yeah, you have a superpower. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget what your true power is as a woman. You should never go hungry. You should never be thirsty. You should never be broke. You should never be poor because of the superpower that you have as a woman. And all you need to do is leverage it. Leverage it, Anita. Because as long as you got that, you're going to be all right. And he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. I'm 57 and I'm thriving to this day because of what he taught me. He wasn't lying. He was not lying. So some of y'all need a father, and find a healthy father figure. Maybe there's a man in your church. Maybe there's a man in your life. Maybe there's a man on your job. And look, there have been so many amazing, even father figures. I had a male supervisor when I worked at the CSB. Awesome. Just an awesome dude. An awesome older gentleman that hired me and guided me the 4 years I was there and laid the foundation. Look, then, y'all, that's why I said 80% of the men in my life have been awesome. Then I had a male residency supervisor. He did my residency. He did my supervision. He did my supervision for my clinical hours. I had another guy. And I was just like, thank you, Lord. Like, when I tell y'all my God is good, my God has done nothing but put good men in my life. And it's like every time one shows up, it lets me know. It just continues and continues and continues to cement in my head that most men are good. I believe that. Now, what's sad, like I said earlier, is other women didn't have that experience. So what's cemented in y'all's head is most men are bad. But I don't believe that. Most men are good. And 50% of the marriageable men out here, y'all don't see. So that's a y'all problem. Y'all don't see these men. So y'all dealing with the other 50%, minus the gay and bisexual dudes, minus the men in jail, minus the men who are deviant, minus men, like, that's who y'all dealing with. Y'all don't even see the other 50%. But yes, daughters need fathers. For all the reasons that I spoke of, for all the reasons that Dr. L spoke of. Please, if you are a man, be in your daughter's life. If you are a woman, you're going to have to reparent if you didn't have a father. Or if you didn't have a good father, you're going to have to reparent yourself. You're going to have to come up with an ideal father figure. You're going to have to find other healthy men to be good role models of what good men are. Like I said, my heart is like crying when I hear some women talk about men. I'm like, man, you ain't never had a man? None of them? They like, no. They used me. They abused me. They cheated. They lied. They assaulted me. They touched me. They this, they that. I'm like, wow, not one? Man, you got to learn, though. You got to learn how to choose. It's never too late to learn how to choose a good person. So what I'm telling the women now, can I be real? A lot of y'all need to stop picking. You just need to sit down. There you go, Desiree, 18. She said R.C. Blake's is my internet dad. See? Perfect example. R.C. Blake's, perfect example. Tony Gaskins, perfect example. Jason Wilson, perfect example. Like, I can name 10 men right now off the top of my head that would make great, faux fathers, right? They would make great male role models. They would make great, father figures. Okay, I had one at home, but he was toxic. Okay, but y'all are not doing that work. You're just stamping and labeling all men are dangerous. All men are toxic. All men are predators. All men are fill in the blank. All men are cheaters. All men are liars. You're only doing yourself a disservice. You're only hurting yourself when you think like that and when you talk like that. So no, that's not my experience at all. And maybe I'm a unicorn. Maybe I'm an outlier. I'm a proud outlier because 80% of the men in my life have been great. And I'm talking men I know, men I don't know. If I just, walk up to there's two guys standing right there. If I walk up to them right now and was like, hey, can you have a dollar? I'm sure the dollar, they would give me money. Like, I kid you not. Men that I don't even know will give me money. Oh, okay, sure. She said the reason why women are having trouble with men is the way they dress and carry themselves, the way these young girls are dressing. I see why men don't value women anymore. Whew, that's a whole nother video. But here's the thing, ladies, there's some truth to that. When you appeal to a man's base nature, right? When you appeal to a man from a sexual point of view, you're not going to get the best version of him. So the reason why I stay covered up is because a man don't have no choice with me. It's like, Anita ain't giving me nothing. Like, she ain't. And I had a guy once when I went on a date. He said that with words, y'all. He said, so you just giving me nothing to work with. I was like, excuse me? Like, I was like, what? He said, yeah, this outfit right here is giving me zero to work with. I was like, well, thank you. I took it as a compliment. Negro. Because what I look like showing some TNA for you to go home and jerk off to, no thank you. No, I'll wear a burlap sack. Okay, I'm going to force you to interact with my mind because there ain't nothing else to interact with. So ladies, that's a tough pill to swallow, but you need to swallow it. You are appealing to a man's base nature. And yes, that is a part of his nature. Men have 30 times more testosterone than we do. So yes, women are the sexier sex. A man with his shirt off don't hit like a woman with her shirt off. Again, y'all keep wanting to make men and women the same. They're not. There's a reason why women can't walk around topless. Okay? So stop it. Stop it and stop feeling a way about that. That's some feminist malarkey. Well, why can't women walk around with these shirts off? You know what the difference is. Stop being ignorant. And just like women wearing thongs, okay? You know what that does to men. And yet y'all have the audacity to be on these videos, to be out and about, and not necessarily at pools, not necessarily on beaches, have the audacity to be wearing a thong and shocked that a man is objectifying you. Anyway, y'all about to get me worked up. All right, I got to go. Daughters need fathers. They need father figures. They need male role models that are healthy. Find them. Like I said, I had them growing up. I have them still to this day. There aren't many men in my life at all, especially now. I'd say 95% of the men that I know are healthy. 95% of the men that I know are about something. 95% of the men I know are not out here violently harming women. So, you know, that number has only grown as I've gotten older and learned how to have good discernment. And remember, ladies, discernment is key. And discernment is your responsibility. Stop putting the responsibility of your safety in the hands of a strange man. Stop it. The person who must keep you safe is you. So if you put yourself in precarious situations and bad things happen, we're not blaming you, but you are a part of the equation. Okay? Nope, we're not victim blaming. But let's not be unrealistic. You are part of the equation. Okay? So when we're doing the math at the police station later, right? And the cop go, okay, 1 plus this equals this. Like, okay, there's something missing here. like I'm missing a number. You are a part of the equation. That's why women don't want to say things like, I just met this guy on a dating app and went home with him. I just met this guy and got in his car and let him drive me. You know, you don't want to say the truth because you want to leave out that number in the equation, knowing that you're part of the equation that equals sexual assault, that equals, I put myself in this precarious situation. So you're a part of the equation. We're not blaming you, but some behavior there is a part of the equation. That's all. So take that for what you will. The only person that's in charge of keeping you safe is you. And unless you got a daddy like me, so my daddy is a part of keeping me safe. My brothers, my uncles, my cousins, they're a part of keeping me safe because I have those men in my life. My male friends are part of keeping me safe. But a strange man? Heck no. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. And I never put my safety in the hands of a man I don't know. That's not smart. And guess what? Ladies, that's one of the 21 feminine principles. Coming soon. Never trust a man you don't know. Okay, so I gave you that one for free. Have a great day. Enjoy your Labor Day. I know I am. We're going to be going to the movies later. I was thinking about cooking out, but, you know, we cooked out last weekend, so I think I'm going to lay low on the cooking out. But I'm probably going to be having a Caesar salad later. But anyway, I hope y'all have a great day. I hope you're enjoying your day off. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. And as always, stay open to love.